Alrighty then, it's time for a double dosage of Jungle Carnage. Which one? First one up is Jungle Trundle, followed up by Olaf. So, in the first game, I'm actually taking a new keystone, the Conqueror keystone. So, Jungle Trundle, you guys seen in mostly all my games, I've been basically taking the Undying Grass. I think there's only one game where I took Press the Attack. But honestly, as Jungle Trundle, I didn't really feel any major keystone was kind of a big deal on him. And I felt Press the Attack, you don't really build for utilizing as best as possible because you don't really have the goal to, just build in a very offensive way. And Undying Grass just kind of seemed like the very bruisery thing to do because it was kind of the only thing we had. But now that I have Conquerors, I get to take that. You can already see it helped me deal quite a bit of damage to that Vi. You just pop your W and then just slowly maul them and then bite them for the Conqueror damage. If you can time that properly at least, it's pretty good. Like if I felt it in this game and in a different game I played on a different account, you get to do quite a bit of damage now, and without actually altering your build all too much. Because in my other builds with the Trundle, I would take Resolve Tree, and then I would build the I think it's called the Domination Tree. I keep forgetting the names of these. I would build, Resolve and then half the Domination Tree, and honestly didn't really make a big deal switching it over to Domination and half Resolve. So hooray, I guess. I lucked out with that. So it's not a big deviation. It only just feels like an upgrade to Trundle or Jungle Trundle. You can see I already took a massive lead in the beginning because the enemy Vi took make a really weird decision to gank Zed, who's already pretty hard to gank for most junglers, especially Vi. Anyways, she does kill Zed here because he sort of kind of blundered into her, but at this point, she kind of already lost control of everything. She does get a second kill there because the Singe took too many tower shots and ran in the wrong direction, but still. Right, again, like I said, she's just kind of lost all control. She's behind, like if I find her, I will absolutely destroy her. I'm not really that fond of Jungle Vi in the first place anymore. I mean, I like playing her, but I feel if she gets even remotely behind, she just kind of falls apart entirely. So yeah, as I already said, I'm 2-0-1. I haven't even gone home to buy anything past the Tiamat, and now when you see me go home, it's just like a bunch of items are gonna get completed. Essentially, put like the enemy Vi. I don't know. I think she got too overzealous in the beginning, trying to get some early ganks, and it backfired her. And on champions like her, who have to rely on that sort of momentum-based jungling, aka making every second count, if you do something that sets you back on your own accord rather than being invaded, it kind of really hurts you. Especially against someone like Jungle Trundle who can invade you and bully you around. Because of how she fell behind on her own, I knew I could just invade her, bully her, I knew where she would be, and essentially you saw, I gained absolute control of her jungle. It even hurts them even more that I'm going with a Bruiser Trundle build. Because if I went any other kind of... having two frontliners like Singed and Trundle, who I've gone on record saying dozens of times are like some of the best butt buddies you could ever imagine. If I ever have a Singed, I love picking Trundle with him. Because your wall with his whole running around gimmick and tossing people around is so brutal, it's not even funny. Like, here, look, just catch him, throw him, put up a pillar, and then he gets tossed around. My weird pathing around it was really bad. It's just kind of... it really hurt Urgot. Baby, slow down. You have to go around the pillar and then just be tossed. Have to repeat that again and, die as a result. Then, Singe gets killed by face, but whatever. You can see my damage is pretty ridiculous. And I know I'm pretty farmed for the jungler and pretty fed so far, 3-0-1. But still, the Conqueror rune, I guess it's kind of true that a lot of people are saying it's pretty goddamn broken. I don't know if it's going to, be a mainstay keystone, because honestly, I don't play that much top lane, and I don't know how abusive it is in top lane in comparison to maybe the jungle, which so far in the jungle it's been okay. On some champions I've been, like Trundle, has been doing really well with it, but on other ones, it's hit or miss. Anyways, I like this little scene because they catch me and they decide to go all out on me, but their damage is pretty damn negligible. At least in the way they were performing it. So once I popped my ultimate, they couldn't even tickle me. Then we catch Jin, we just sort of chase him down, and this whole little thing was awkward because the enemy team kind of blundered into that. And I think at this point, they're super triggered and they're super, just done with the game. I know. Remember, two team battles in one video tends to be games that couldn't make it on their own because they were kind of stompish. But this game at least allows me to showcase, Conqueror Trundle. By the way, that's really ridiculously funny. It doesn't happen very often when you get to do that, but I managed to pin Fizz in a way in which he couldn't even like move at all. I don't know how that works. I assume it's just a little bit of a hex tile or something in which he could actually be inside and not actually move, like, or I don't know. It's sort of like putting two shapes that are not two shapes that are not exactly fit into each other, but you have that tiny little corridor he can exist. That's what I figure it is. You could rarely do that, but when it actually happens, it's hilarious as hell. But yeah, they kind of fell apart, and you get to showcase Conqueror Trundle, how much early game damage I was able to put in comparison to stuff like Undying Grasp or Press the Attack, which I kind of just felt were not fully utilized as Jungle Trundle. I know Lane Trundle had a whole different thing of making both of them a lot more useful, but remember, Jungle it's a lot different. But yeah, I like it and definitely feel it's benefited Trundle at the very least. And like I repeat, I don't know if it affected other junglers that much. I'm still in the whole way of testing it out, but you guys know I mostly play tanks, so I don't actually get that much of a chance. Anyways, as you can see, at this point, I'm basically, Jesus troll right now. They could barely even tickle me. I'm basically immortal. And my build isn't even complete. And in fact, I had, at this point, just kind of a lot of gold sitting in my pocket that I didn't even bother to, spend. It's just kind of anti-momentum to constantly go back and buy items. If you're good enough health as someone like Trundle, you can just constantly be farming around and doing stuff. Like the enemy Vi is so behind that even if I sat on like 3,000 gold, I'd still be on par or better with her. At this point, the only thing she could manage to do is get a cheap kill on someone who was already on death's door, or in a really bad position, or had no escapes or whatever. Like again here, like I just kind of tank everything, including the tower, and he gets annihilated. But yeah, this game pretty simple, pretty clean, and it was pretty stompish, obviously. But now we move on to Olaf. And in this game, I go again the speedy bang bang build because that shit's fun. You guys already saw that other Olaf game, and this one's pretty brutal. Anyways, my support Lulu is harassing the crap out of Singed, who doesn't realize that he shouldn't be taunting her or be stupid. Now, he took way too much damage for free. She's the support. It doesn't matter if she's actually in the lane yet, because it doesn't matter. The Auric and then the Singed also try to fight her for whatever reason, but since Singed took poison, there was nothing he could do, and the Auric got a little bit too ahead of herself and got killed for that, and burned her flash, which is huge. None of that was absolutely necessary for the enemy team. The Singed should have just left and put himself in a safe position so the Lulu wouldn't harass him. So this basically allows me to invade the Master Yi with basically no mercy, who also took Ghost for some reason, which makes you very susceptible to invasions because you can't go over walls. So someone who can chain CC you or has red buff and can just tag you is gonna murder you. And now, since the Ahri doesn't have, a flash, even if I missed my Q, which I thought she was just kind of back off, I have red buff. I just tag her with it, and she slowly, dies. Thank God for the enemy team. The Singed didn't, go too further to help her, because then he would have died too. Again, all of that was just so unnecessary. Because of the weird thing the Singed did and the Ahri did in the beginning of the game, it led to 3 deaths. I became confident enough to invade the Master Yi and then kill the Ahri right after. That is, just don't do that. Pay attention to the early game. A lot of people do not respect the early game shenanigans that can occur. Either way, here's an explosive rune, and you know what that means. Once the enemy Taric engages, I can counter and gank. So, I have the angry boots already, exhaustion goes on the Taric, and he flashes, but, he should realize that I have chain CC and I would tag him anyways. So that makes a very easy kill on the Taric for me. And at this point, the Singed is losing to the Teemo because, well, it's Teemo. You shouldn't pick Singed into a Teemo for the most time, in most cases, because that's kind of like deciding to just play hell on earth, right? But either way, I get level 6 with this, and it allows me, to start being unstoppable. And I obviously go get red buff, and I look to invade, and then just the Master Yi kind of walks into me. Thankfully, he wasn't at full health because he would have killed me otherwise, He would have killed me otherwise, but thankfully, he kind of fought that inappropriately, or improperly, I mean. and died as a result. So now he is further behind. I go against the Ari, pop my ultimate so I don't get charmed, and it burns her flash. That's pretty good, you know, a flash for an ultimate. The flash obviously is way more important for the lane. So I'm happy to sacrifice, especially since I have a blue buff anyways, which is going to lower its cooldown. So yay, momentum jungling, how cool is that? And of course, I'm also taxing the lanes whenever I can. Either way, Master Yi gets caught, but gets blown exhaust, but he doesn't really get anything out of that. He and I fight for the chickens, and you know, then the enemy attacks me. They focus me, which is kind of a mistake because they should have known that the Anivia and the Lulu were here, and that was a very clutch ultimate by the Lulu, which allowed me to survive long enough to take more damage I get from the enemy team, so they can get destroyed by my teammates. So that's totally worth it. Also, there's this weird bit of lag, a huge lag spike in every recording I've been making since the last patch. It's pretty annoying, isn't it? But anyways, you know, I'm building Righteous Glory, trying to rush that. I was considering rushing Shirelia's Reverie, which is now back in the game apparently. But, you know, I'd rather go to Righteous Glory just because it's the tankier item and it's followed up by huge, you know, slow at the end. But who knows, I'll try both. Same thing here, I pop my ultimate to grab her. It uses her ultimate. It's about an equal trade. It's not the biggest deal here. Anyways, again, just constantly farming, constantly being on the move, and my build is gonna be again angry boots. Here, Singed is just kind of in a sad spot. He finally got a little bit of revenge, but you know he's got no chance in hell. Especially since he walked in the mushroom. Even if I wasn't there, the mushroom or the egg in this case would have killed him. And now I do trade the dragon for the blue buff, and then I tax the lane, but that's totally worth it. And now for some fun part. So Ari's in such a really bad position because she was trying, you know, tower diving. I can easily kill her. There's no way they can CC me. Tarek burned his CC before my ultimate was gone. So he gets killed. And Caitlyn was in a bad position. So she ended up getting hit by my Q that was aimed at the Tarek too. And it allows me to get 3 kills. And essentially this puts a gray, you know, this basically buries the enemy team. Nobody on the enemy team can handle me at this point. Caitlyn doesn't do enough damage to murder me or anything, and I could just, you know, run amok. In fact, this part here is funny because Ari's like, I'm gonna go home or I'm playing safely, but I still have my ultimate, so I just kind of flash in there with my ultimate and destroy her. You know, there's no, even if that charm had hit, they wouldn't have done nothing. And then Lulu kills the Master Yi, which is kind of hanging about, just trying his very best to salvage this terrible situation. So now it's 4-16. How sad is that? But yeah, it's the strength of well. This game is kind of the strength of 2 really sad things. One, of making ridiculously bad decisions at the beginning of the game because you don't respect the early phases of the game. And when Olaf starts to snowball, oh my god, there's nothing you can do about it. He'll just kill you under your tower while your children watch. And then this next scene is just kind of sad. The Ari goes in, hits a mushroom, and then hits another mushroom, and she lost half her health with that, and then she just kind of dies. It's like she had no chance for that. She's just trying to defend this tower, and a bunch of eggs killed her. So hooray, 5-19. And you know, just kudos for the Caitlyn for at least still trying to farm as much as she could. But at this point, the enemy team should surrender. And I don't think they were trying to. I think someone was denying it. But at this point, when you have an enemy Olaf who is 11 and 1 and 3, you might want to surrender. When he has his speedy build, which is unstoppable, will catch a carry and destroy them before you can even blink, you kind of just should surrender. But whatever, you know, I digress. I've talked about that before, and it's kind of beating a dead horse at this point, right? I have so much health, I have so much speed, I don't even know. In fact, at this point, I'm even building Tiamat because I was going to build Titanic Hydra, and then the Aura just kind of died because of a mushroom. Ah, sad. I was building Titanic Hydra because, you know, after a certain point, I'm like, I don't even need to be half as tanky as I am right now to deal with them. So I might as well be building some damage to, you know, just kind of destroy them on my own. So yeah, last Valiant defense they've got. So the Singe once again forgets that he can't go home he can't go home anywhere I can actually reach him. So he got destroyed. The enemy team, last bastion of defense here. Terra gets caught, is CC down, and absolutely destroyed. And that's pretty much it. I ended up flashing because I thought that, the Terra was gonna kill me. Whatever. Game is done. Hooray for manliness and hooray for jungle brutality. Yay. And if you like this video, remember to give it a like. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell up there somewhere so you actually get notifications to my videos, because YouTube and stuff.